We'll find out next, because
March Madness on CBS. It's all here.
My God, it's good! My God, it's so good! The flipper still fits!
Inside, the big fella.
Yes! Just gonna turn!
just going to show you under the basket. Under the basket.
Will Cinderella arrive?
Forget about Cinderella!
Looking for a go-to guy. There he is.
Unbelievable! Cannot take it!
It'll happen.
Yes! Woohoo! It's over! Holy mackerel! Holy mackerel! Holy mackerel!
This is what the tournament is all about.
That's it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to the Road to the Final Four here on CBS as we get set to raise the curtain on the second round of the 2003 NCAA tournament. Once again, we remind everyone, CBS News is standing by to bring you the latest on the war in Iraq as events warrant. Joining me is my partner, Clark Kellogg, who I'm not sure if he can stand another day of the tournament like we had yesterday. You have some interesting observations, though.
Well, we've got 33 games down, 31 more games to go, Greg. And after the first 2 days of the tournament, I found it interesting to note that the two conferences that got the most respect coming into the tournament actually ended up with only a combined record of 8-4 when you look at the Big 12 and SEC, whereas the two conferences that maybe were least respected, the Big East and Big 10, 9-0 after the first 2 days.
Some of that could be seeding.
Some of it could be seeding, but also some of it is just the fact that matchups have played out quite nicely for the other two conferences, the Big East and the Big 10.
All right, Clark, coming up on today's installment of the Road to the Final Four, we will talk live with Maryland's man of the hour, Drew Nicholas, who beat the buzzer last night with a winning 3. And you'll meet a Demon Deacon named Josh Howard, who has found success on the court and in the classroom. Arizona is loaded with talent, but Clark will show us why that can sometimes be a mixed blessing. And the good news for Matt and Pat Carroll is that both brothers made it into the tournament. The bad news for the parents is that their sons play for different schools. Let's first set the lineup for today's second-round quadruple header. Everybody will start in Indianapolis, where number 5 Notre Dame challenges Illinois, the 4th seed in the West bracket. In the second wave of action, tipping off at about 3:20 Eastern in Spokane, number 5 UConn meets Stanford, seeded 4th in the South, and number 6 Missouri tips off against Marquette, the 3rd seed in the Midwest. Then at roughly 5:30 Eastern time, a pair of top seeds take to the court, Oklahoma in the East, Arizona in the West. And finally, in the quadruple header games, Arizona State, an upset winner over Memphis, takes on number 2 Kansas in the West bracket, while Central Michigan goes up against number 3 Duke out west. We take a look at these games. We turn to the guru.
Oh, yeah, right. After I miscalculated a number of matchups last night, we've got 3 double-digit seeds left. A couple of those, I think, have a chance to advance. Will you promise to come back a little later and see who those teams are from my perspective?
I know who they are, and I'll nail you to the wall on them when we come back.
All righty.
There were some remarkable finishes late last night. Here's how the first round came to a dramatic conclusion. Butler, Mississippi State.
Derek Zimmerman going to find Mario Austin inside. Mississippi State's Bulldogs will go up by 2. And then watch Butler get the fortuitous bounce. Mike Monserrat with the 3. Listen in for the rest of the action.
Back the other way, Zimmerman. Bowler. No! Butler with the win over Mississippi State.
Every year, almost, it seems, a 12 seed knocks off a 5 seed. A 12 becomes a Cinderella in the tournament. You guys are now that Cinderella. Did you believe going into this game that this was something you could achieve?
We definitely believed it. But Andy Katz, we're a contender. We're not a pretender.
UNC Wilmington and Maryland. Wilmington's John Goldsberry, NCAA record 8 for 8 from 3. Brett Blizzard, a 3. The Seahawks are up. Maryland Steve Blake, a 3. The Terps are up. Aaron Combs' free throws put the Seahawks up, and then it was Nicholas time for the Maryland Terrapins.
Nicholas, the senior, with 2 seconds. Here he goes for the win. Nicholas has done it. Maryland on to the second round in a most heroic finish.
Heroic indeed. The Maryland Terrapins are still alive. Earlier, we spoke with Indiana coach Mike Davis, whose Hoosiers will be taking on Pittsburgh tomorrow. We asked the coach what it was like to go up against his alma mater, Alabama, in the first round last night.
Just thinking about it, really nervous and anxious to play. Knowing if you lose the game, it's hard to go home. And Alabama flashed on the screen last Sunday, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I know all the guys. I looked in the media guide because you always look at the media guide when you play an opposing team. And I'm looking in there, and I see my picture, and got a little flashback of yesteryears. You know, when you play somewhere, and you're getting ready to go out on the floor, and they're playing the fight song, you're going through the tunnel, and it just sends chills over you. And so I've always remembered that as a player at Alabama. And so when they started playing that, I'm like, well, we need to win this game in the worst way because no way I can go home.
Mike, you're down double digits at halftime. What was that locker room like? What was your team like? What did you tell them?
I went in, I probably was the madman from Fayette, Alabama. I was just really upset, ripping into guys, and I just asked Hornsman and Coverdale if they wanted to win the championship, and they said yes. And so I was really proud of the guys, and they could see in me that I was really uptight the whole week.
Well, let's look ahead to the matchup with Pittsburgh. Last year, you met Duke in the Sweet 16 round. Your next matchup this year is against the #2 seed Pittsburgh Panthers. Talk about how last year's preparation helps you as a coach get ready for your game against Pittsburgh.
We feel like we can beat anyone because Duke was a really, really good basketball team. Pittsburgh, I think, is a fantastic team, well coached. It's going to be a tough game for us, but it's one that we feel like we can win, but it's one that we feel like if we don't play well, I mean, really good basketball, then they can beat us pretty easily. Every game that we'll play in the bracket, if we're fortunate to win, would be a very good basketball team.
Mike, how many hours of sleep you working on today?
Well, I went to bed last night about 5, and I woke up this morning at 8. My son called me from Bloomington and asked me what I was doing. I said I was trying to get some sleep. But this time of the year is no time for sleep, and hopefully we can make it to New Orleans. But if not, I won't sleep until our last game is over.
And Coach Mike Davis, a little groggy but happy as Indiana goes up against...
like you and I.
As Pittsburgh, Indiana goes up against Pittsburgh, are the Hoosiers physical enough to hang with the Panthers?
That's a great question, Greg, and that will be the determining factor in this game. Can Jeff Newton, Leach, can they give a presence inside? And then he's going to need Coverdale to play the way he played last night in their win against Alabama. If that happens, they've got a pretty good chance.
I like Tom Coverdale saying, Coach was a little uptight going into the game. Right now, let's go out to Indianapolis and check in with our colleagues for a look ahead to today's opening game between the Fighting Irish and the Fighting Illini.
A terrific matchup coming up from Indy, a 4 versus a 5 as Illinois takes on Notre Dame. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with my partner Len Elmore, and both of these teams won tough games in the first round. And for Notre Dame, it's a question of health. Their leading scorer, Matt Carroll, Lenny, he's nursing a tender ankle.
Well, Matt Carroll sprained his ankle on Thursday, and obviously that's a concern for Notre Dame because they count on him for 20 points, 5 rebounds a game. Now, Thursday night, he had an obviously tough night, and that's the situation they'd like to rectify. A focus of the Illinois defense, Carroll's going to have to work harder to get open, and his teammates are going to have to play with him so they can get a better result from him than they did Thursday.
One matchup to pay special attention to will take place in the paint when Terrin Francis, the freshman from Notre Dame, takes on the senior Brian Cook.
Well, Terrin Francis was huge for the Irish on Thursday. His presence on the floor was way beyond his freshman status. Now, he's going to have to match the senior Brian Cook for Illinois. Steady, experienced, and now playing with that sense of senior urgency. And if you take a look right there, both of those guys are ready for the challenge.
So coming up, it's Notre Dame, Illinois, a 4 versus a 5 from Indy. Now let's go back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Gus, thank you very much. You know, Matt Carroll, you know he's going to go, but on a sprained ankle, you just don't know how well. My question is, can Chris Thomas do some significant damage against Illinois?
Oh, Greg, without question, he's a terrific all-around point guard. He can score it, he can get his own shot, he can get into the lane, but I don't know if that'll be enough against Illinois. Illinois has superior size. I think they have superior team speed and depth, and that will probably be where they try to wear Notre Dame down. Notre Dame is going to have to shoot the ball exceptionally well to have a chance against Illinois.
All right, Clark, coming up next, a modern tale of three bears, golden bears, who are just right for California. That story and more when we continue live from New York on the road to the Final Four.
CBS Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by McDonald's, Monroe Shocks and Struts, Monroe, ride safe, and by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best.
Cars with worn shocks can take 10 feet farther to stop. Next time you're in for tires or brakes, have your shocks checked as part of a Monroe Safety Triangle inspection. Monroe, ride safe.
When you serve billions of farm-fresh eggs and billions of cups of coffee made with some of the world's finest beans and billions of biscuits made with real buttermilk.
Egg McMuffin, hash brown, and a large coffee, right?
Right. You're bound to have billions of regulars.
Greatest moments in NCAA basketball: 1956, the perfect season; 1957, triple unbelievable overtime; 1982, New Orleans voodoo; 1983, the Cinderella story; 1992, the greatest game played ever.
You're going to love the Singular NCAA text package. Only Singular provides interactive voting during NCAA men's tournament broadcasts and sports alerts. Get all this, plus unlimited text messaging for only $2.99 a month.
I call it the Fred Jumper, never miss a moment plan.
Go to singular.com/NCAA or visit your Singular store now to find out why Singular fits you best.
Dave Busnick's a peaceful man, but he's being sentenced to
anger management
on April 11th.
We've got 30 days to get your anger under control.
I don't think you should be moving in with me.
Keep an open mind.
I like to sleep in the nude.
Embrace your emotions.
I said over easy! Now, why did I do that? Because I refused to spoon with you last night?
And let the healing begin.
How do you feel?
Anger management. Rated PG-13. Opens April 11th.
This is crabgrass. I don't want to see crabgrass in my lawn.
My wife actually hates crabgrass.
Nobody would want this in their lawn. We put down Scott's turf builder with Holtz in the early spring.
That's the only thing I ever use. Scott's puts this protective barrier over the lawn.
And it stops the crabgrass from germinating.
See how nice and thick that is?
Feels like the carpet inside my house. Well, I've used the cheap brands. And it's like anything else. You get what you pay for.
Steve doesn't have any crabgrass, which makes him a good human being, basically.
Turf builder with Holtz. The best defense against
crabgrass.
He shoots. He scores.
Could you come by later?
Yeah. The Late Show with David Letterman. The best games aren't always on the court.
Tucker down the lane, lays it up.
In another dramatic first-round finish, Notre Dame's Fighting Irish hold on to advance to today's meeting with Illinois, our first matchup of the second round, as we welcome you back to the road to the Final Four. In the third set of games in today's quadruple header, California challenges Oklahoma. The top-seeded Sooners are known for dealing knockout blows, but Cal hopes to fend them off with a stiff jab. And as Clark tells us, that's just how the Golden Bears have been winning decisions.
Joe Shipp.
Meet them here.
Brian Weathers, the Jab Trio. Something to me kind of, came up with. He was always talking about the trio, this, that, and he came up with the Jab Trio.
He thought it would be cool if we had a little hook to get us some attention or some recognition.
It was probably before the game against Oregon, and we were just talking about the looks and the exposure that they're getting. We're like, oh, maybe we should get some nickname for us.
Well, you can bet your bottom dollar I didn't sit around giving them nicknames and subscribing to all that. But, you know, I think it's something that players have fun with. I don't think, you know, we're not the type of team that takes ourselves too seriously or has big or huge egos. It's really about what the team does. And this team and those three guys have been a part of that all year long.
This 1-2-3 combination has been a knockout for California, leading the Bears to the third best record in a conference of heavyweights, the Pac-10.
These guys have gone out on a consistent basis and played solid basketball and helped our team win all year long.
A lot of teams can focus on one guy. On our team, their attention has to be on all three of them, because at any game, either one of them could hit 25 points.
Joe, unconscious scorer. You know, when he's on, There's not much you can do about it. He's got a, beautiful touch from the three-point line. And, he's a good rebounder.
Amit?
He's a great three-point shooter. He plays like a wing somewhat. A 6'10" shooting guard.
Brian.
He's a leader in the team, and he's the vocal leader. And when he gets in the game, he just trying to explode on the court.
A lot of pressure's off me, not being like a go-to guy. I mean, the defense doesn't focus so much on me. Gets me a lot of open looks.
Chip at the other end. Double team. Mitchell for the lead. Oh! Spectacular shot. And Cal wins 76-74. We knew that the team will follow our actions. And if we're going to have letdowns, the team will have a letdown. We believe that if we're going to play good, the team's going to play good.
I think this is a great opportunity for us to showcase our talent in the tournament and show what we can do.
The Jab Trio, serious business. Three guys that going to go out, compete, feed off each other, and it's hard to stop us when we're on clicking.
Jab Trio is serious business, and so is the Pac-10, which has been just cruising.
They have been cruising 4-1. We take a look at what they've done in the first 2 days of the tournament, and that Jab Trio making some nice music. You take a look, undefeated on Thursday, looking at their games coming up, obviously the California-Oklahoma game, the one we'll lock into, but that Jab Trio combining, Greg, for 51 points a game. That's Weathers, Ship, and Tamir. Can they get those offensive touches and shots against a good Oklahoma defense? I think they can. The key will be, will they be able to defend and rebound with a very tenacious Oklahoma team? I give them a good chance to spring an upset here.
All right, speaking of the Sooners, Oklahoma guard Hollis Price sustained a partially torn groin on the final play of last Sunday's Big 12 title game. Yesterday, Price talked about that injury and the impact it might have on today's game against Cal.
I doubt if I'll be 100%. I think groin injuries takes a while. You got to sit out a little bit, and right now I don't think I want to sit out, and I don't think the team want me to sit out. But percentage-wise, I think I'm probably 70%. The hardest thing is accelerating. I'm a guy who uses his speed to get open a lot. And that's the hardest thing for me, accelerating and trying to create my own shot.
Hollis doesn't want to sit out, but here's my question for you regarding Kelvin Sampson. If you're the coach, do you sit him and hope to get past and maybe help him get a little healthier, or do you risk maybe losing him for the rest of the tournament despite a victory?
Well, I'll tell you what, the heart of Hollis Price is really what makes him go, in addition to his speed. And if you're Kelvin Sampson, you have to rely on the judgment and attitude of your player in that situation. I think he will be severely hampered by that groin. That's one of the worst injuries you can have for a guy who relies on speed. And I think Kelvin's just going to have to monitor his minutes and try to allow him to play in bits and pieces, 3 or 4 minute segments, and hope that's good enough.
Yeah, tough call either way.
Yes, it is.
A reminder, you can get complete NCAA tournament coverage with live updated brackets and the latest developments on the road to the Final Four at CBSSportsline.com. America Online users enter the keyword CBS Sportsline. Next, the story of a team that draws its inspiration from its courageous assistant coach. When the road to the Final Four continues on CBS after this.
Hey, Bob. You get a new haircut?
No.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Did you lose weight?
New jacket, Bob?
Nope.
What's different? He finally asked his doctor about Viagra. Ready to ask your doctor about Viagra for the first time? Find out if a free sample is right for you. To learn more, visit Viagra.com.
Called the sitter, I walked the dog, and I saw the doctor.
Ask your doctor and see the difference.
Let me guess, stuffed French toast down at IHOP.
Yeah, right now at IHOP, it's stuffed French toast. Luscious cream cheese on the inside, creamy whipped topping, and your choice of fruit on the outside. Served with all your favorite stuff right alongside. Stuffed French toast at IHOP. Everybody's packing in just to get a taste. IHOP. Come hungry, leave happy.
Don't act like a swan. Be a swan.
I don't think I'm swan material. Sorry, kind of new at this.
That's okay. It's good to try new things.
That's what I tell people about 10-10-220.
I use that. All my calls up to 20 minutes are 99 cents.
I haven't signed up for that.
You don't have to. Just dial 10-10-220, then 1 and the number.
That's easy.
It sure is. I knew you could do it.
Help. I think I'm stuck.
Dial 10-10-220.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yes, sir!
The Masters is on CBS.
The Monroe shocking upset. With time running out, Brandon Miller of 12th-seeded Butler hit the floater to take a 1-point lead over Mississippi State, the West's 5th seed. Timmy Bowers got one last good look but couldn't convert, and Butler came away with the first-round win in the Battle of the Bulldogs. And with that shocking upset last night, Butler advanced to a second-round meeting with Louisville tomorrow. Welcome back to our tournament anchor desk here in New York, everyone, as we continue along the road to the Final Four. In one of our 3:30 games today, 6th seed Missouri takes on number 3 Marquette in Midwest action. This year, the Golden Eagles have been playing with a little more spring in their step and greater passion. If you're wondering about the source of this inspiration, he's right there at his post on the Marquette bench, assistant coach Trey Schwab.
When something like this happens, you can, throw up your arms and kind of give up and, say, why me, or those types of things. But, those don't really do you any good to do anything like that. I mean, I've just, tried to keep living my life.
Despite having endured 7 operations over the past 2 years, Schwab maintains his coaching duties and tries to follow as normal a routine as possible, given the circumstances.
There's not a lot of sympathy for not having a good day here, when you look at Trey. I saw a great sign driving by a church, and it said, "Count your blessings, not your problems." And man, I thought of Trey.
The Oklahoma native came to Marquette in September of 2001. Weeks later, Schwab and head coach Tom Crean developed similar symptoms.
The doctor came in, checked us out one night after practice, and said, basically, you both got walking pneumonia. Gave us some antibiotics.
We were trying to get through sickness. I did. And he continued to get worse. And he let us in on some of it, but he didn't let us in on all of it. And I think at the time when he started to cough up blood is when I was aware that something was wrong.
Trey has an unusual form of pulmonary fibrosis. Whenever someone presents with a disease that's really involves the whole body, and it shows up with end-stage scarring of the lung, the prognosis is quite poor. And so we would expect that Trey probably would be in a situation where he would not be expected to be alive 2 years from now, just based on the progression and the diagnosis of his lung disease.
My lungs had just gotten so damaged that they said, you're basically past the point of no return, and, a transplant's, the only thing that's going to keep you going. When you're a coach, you try to control everything. You try to always save your timeouts for the end of the game so you can control the game and that type of thing. And there's a lot of things going on with this whole situation I have no control over. I don't know when this transplant's going to happen.
I don't think that day can come soon enough. I really don't. And I know he probably feels the same way, and I know we all are looking forward to the day we know he's getting that transplant.
Coach Schwab, he's an amazing person. I never want the day to come that he's not a part of this Marquette family. But it's not about basketball no more. It's all about life and death.
I've got to do what's best for me health-wise, and if the doctors, say, hey, you can't travel anymore, then, that's the way it's got to be until, we get through the transplant and, get my health back.
It is very inspirational to see a nice man like him, go through the things he go through. I think at the end, when it's all said and done, we're going to dedicate this year to him, because I think by the things he's going through has helped us as a team grow together and push forward and keep winning.
Coach Schwab has been told to be ready at any moment to receive a new lung. For today's game, he has a chartered plane ready to take him to Milwaukee should that call come. Meanwhile, Marquette looking ahead to Missouri. And how do these teams match up, Clark?
Well, Greg, you look at these teams, they're really evenly matched. When you talk about a presence in the paint, both teams have that. You talk about a go-to guy, both teams have that. I really think it'll come down, Greg, to what things within the game are taking control of. Turnovers and free throw shooting. Marquette excels in both areas. Missouri has had trouble squeezing the orange.
All right. Coming up, we will talk with the Terrapin, who hit the big buzzer beater to keep the defending champs alive. And you'll see how Arizona deals with an embarrassment of basketball riches when we continue.
We're witnessing a college basketball miracle. Dick Vitale silent for an entire 17 seconds. On a personal note, for myself and sportscasters everywhere, I'd like to thank the crust, the juicy toppings, and the pizza delivery guy.
For fresh baked pizza at home, play DiGiorno's Advance to the Dance. You could win a trip to the 2004 NCAA Men's Final Four, one of 70,000 prizes. Details on specially marked boxes.
Morning, William.
CJ.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. Looks like somebody got a haircut.
Was it too short?
They're always glad you came.
Hey,
No, you can't drive the truck. See you tomorrow, Bobby.
Can you come in and play?
Who can you count on? You know them by name.
Catch the King of Queens, Monday on CBS. It's all here.
Pretty intense, isn't it?
For in-your-face home theater action, come to Best Buy. From Sony Plasma TVs to Bose Surround Sound, we'll help find the system that's right for you. Get into the action at Best Buy.
You're a great mom. You're beautiful and you're smart and you work so hard.
Billy, would you like me to call your mom and see if you can stay for dinner?
If you insist.
Introducing the Cinemeal Deal. Any large Pizza Hut pizza, America's favorite, with up to 3 toppings, just $11.99. Plus a generous order of our new freshly baked cinnamon sticks absolutely free. The $11.99 Cinemeal Deal. Spoil your family, not your budget.
You're powerful, smart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At Pizza Hut.
Pick up Forecast 8 Severe Weather Guide, available today at these locations.
Welcome back to the road to the Final Four here on CBS as we take a peek in at Indianapolis, where number 5 Notre Dame and 4th seed Illinois will tip off the second round of tournament play about a half an hour from now. Today's games will be hard-pressed to match the madness we experienced around midnight last night when Maryland's Drew Nicholas saved the defending national champions from a first-round exit at the hands of UNC Wilmington. Jim Nance and Billy Packer were courtside witnesses.
Nicholas, the senior, with 2 seconds. Here he goes for the win.
And joining us now live from Nashville is the toast of Terrapin Nation, Drew Nicholas, who had a big grin on his face as he was hearing that in his ear just a few seconds ago. Drew, every guy who ever hits a buzzer beater says, I knew it was good the moment it left my hands. Did you?
No, to be totally honest, I really didn't. You know, I was kind of fading away a little bit, and I really actually thought that it was going to come up short. But, you know, it found the bottom of the net, so I can't be any more delighted.
How many buzzer beaters have you had in your career? Anywhere?
This is probably just my second or my third. The last time that I had one was a couple of weeks ago down at NC State, but it was a different situation. The game was tied, so you know we weren't in a win-or-lose situation.
I'd like to know what you and your teammates were thinking, what was going through your head when the guy from UNC Wilmington, who's a 42% free throw shooter, hits 2 free throws to put them ahead.
You know, it really was just one of those kinds of nights, you know, between him hitting those free throws and the freshman kid Goldsberry stepping up and making 8 3-pointers for them. I don't think he hit 8 all year, but you know, it's just one of those nights, but fortunately we were able to come away with the win.
Drew, when we analyze your particular team, this Maryland Terrapins team, we talk an awful lot about experience in kind of a general sense. Could you kind of help us understand what experience means to you and your team as players?
It means a ton to us because, you know, we really have 5 seniors on this basketball team, and coming into this year, we had 4 new guys coming along with us. So, you know, we really took it upon ourselves to make sure that those guys understood the program and what we were trying to accomplish this year. You know, every year it's a different year, and you know, I think all the new guys are really starting to really gain that concept, and you know, we're just trying to push forward in the tournament.
Well, pushing forward, you will match up with Xavier in your next game tomorrow. Talk a little bit about some of the keys from a matchup standpoint. They've got one of the best 2-man combinations in all of college basketball.
You know, first off, you know, anytime you talk about Xavier, you have to talk about David West. You know, he's a very good player, and you know, outside they have Romain Sato as well. You know, probably our primary 2 concerns will be those 2 guys, and make somebody else beat us. You know, that's kind of the same aspect that we came in with UNC Wilmington and making somebody else besides Blizzard and Callahan beat us.
Drew, you come into this season, and it's not exactly true that everyone is thinking that you are Juan Dixon's replacement, but the fact is someone had to fill those shoes. Is that something you were willing to try to do?
Obviously, of course. You know, coming into this year, I knew that my role was going to have to step up as opposed to last year. And, you know, no one's going to really replace Juan's shoes. The things that he did last year, just incredible. But, you know, I just try to do everything I can on the basketball court to help this team win.
You know, that shot last night, you hit it on the run, and you never stopped running. Where were you going?
To be totally honest, I really don't know. You know, my momentum, you know, I made the shot off 1 foot, and I just kept running after that. You know, I couldn't believe that the ball had went in, and I actually knew that, that I had gotten it off in time because I didn't hear the buzzer by the time, you know, the ball was out of my hands.
You know, you probably thought win or lose, you might as well keep running either way, right?
Either way.
All right, Drew, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Today at about 5:40 Eastern Time, Gonzaga will square off against the top seed in the West, Arizona. With their wealth of talent, Lute Olson's Wildcats have hovered atop the polls all season long, but as Clark explains, a surplus of hungry, capable players has been Arizona's greatest asset and its biggest problem.
There'll be games where Stoudemire just lights them up. The next game it may be Luke or Ricky Anderson, or maybe Jason, or maybe Channing Frye, or Andre and Hassan off the bench. We're not a team that people can come out and say, well, if we stop him, we're going to win the game. You know, we have talent and we have depth.
But might there be too much depth? Earlier this season, 2 players, Dennis Lattimore and Will Bynum, transferred over lack of playing time. Will this problem continue to haunt the Wildcats?
I think it will be a problem, but guys can't let it show while we're on the court and while we're in the game. You have to just keep it on inside and not let it out.
Superstar or not, everyone wants to play basketball. Everyone wants to be on the court doing something, and that's just the toughest part, you know. No matter if you have a good game or a bad game, as long as you're on the court, you feel a little bit of satisfaction.
I don't want to say it's impossible. I say it's pretty hard to make everyone happy. You know, in college, everyone wants to play. You don't want to sit on the bench.
If you're not getting minutes, you know, you can't be mad. If you're not getting shots, you know, you shouldn't be mad. But, you know, so we talk a lot about that, like, you know, every day, every couple of weeks. You know, anytime we have a situation like that.
My job isn't to keep people happy. My job is to have our team win. And our guys know this, that at this time of the year, you shorten that bench some, because if it's a case of, like, say, a Channing Frye having a great game, you can't be thinking about, well, I've got to give this guy minutes. We need to do what's the right thing for the team. And the good thing about our ball club is they want to win.
For Arizona to be successful in the madness, the underclassmen will have to swallow their pride and allow the seniors to lead the way on the road to the Final Four.
And with the players we have left and with the team we have right now, everyone's pretty much accepting how it's going to be from here on out, and everyone's just doing now whatever is best for the team.
We're grown men. We're in college now. I think, you know, if you're not playing, then there's a reason for that. And you know, yes, we're on a deep team, but you have to understand, do you want to get a championship or do you want to, you know, play
on another team, our starting five and our players coming off the bench, you know, we're the best team out there. And you know, there's some other great teams like Kentucky and such, but I feel that we have the best team.
I know there's an issue of playing time, but somehow I don't see a coach complaining about too many good people on the bench.
Well, certainly when you look at Lute Olson, he's had a history of having excellent teams and being able to get them to buy into being a team. That's going to be the key for Arizona. I think they have the most talent, the most depth, the most experience, the best blend of a championship caliber team. Now it comes to the players recognizing that and really trusting and giving themselves to each other in the little things, defense, helping out, and so forth.
All right. Up next, the story of Wake Forest's big man who has become a demon with both the ball and the books when we continue along the road to the Final Four right after this.
Well, the girls have been sharing a wireless phone.
Yeah, I can help you out here.
At Sprint stores, buy one A460 Samsung phone and get a second one free. Plus, get 500 anytime minutes to share for $65 a month with unlimited night, weekend, and PCS to PCS calling. PCS from Sprint. Clearly, a whole new way to look at wireless.
The Morgans of New York City. The Mendozas of Fort Worth, Texas. Stu and Maggie. With a bunch of steak quesadillas from Taco Bell.
A higher class of quesadilla has arrived. Taco Bell Steak Quesadilla. Marinated carne asada steak and 3 rich melted cheeses. Upgrade to steak. Think outside the bun.
Mr. Goodwrench, who is this one and only GM expert? I gotta find this guy. You're Mr. Goodwrench?
Yep.
Which means you use genuine GM parts.
Well, actually, we all do.
Now you're just trying to throw me. Mr. Goodwrench had over 1 million hours of GM training last year?
That's right.
Doesn't leave much time for Mrs. Goodwrench now, does it?
Find Mr. Goodwrench at over 7,000 GM dealerships nationwide.
If Mr. Goodwrench were a tool, what kind of tool would he be?
A wrench?
Oh, sorry. Miter saw is what we were looking for. Miter saw.
Going a full 12 rounds is all about stamina. That's why I like high endurance from Old Spice. No deodorant protects better. And it lasts longer because it evaporates more slowly. Want proof? If you're not convinced, Old Spice will buy you a stick of your old stuff. Let me put it this way. High endurance lasts longer than I do. I'm working on that.
Home haircutting just got better with the new Clip and Trim by Wall. Snap-on combs and contoured design make styling a breeze. But the best part of the new Clip and Trim,
Don't forget my neck.
is the built-in detail trimmer making cleanup around the ears, sideburns, and neckline a snap.
Hey, honey, how about a little trim for me?
The new Clip and Trim, the only all-in-one clipper and trimmer by Wall.
It's the NCAA tournament site with live scores, updated brackets, and insight from the top coaches. CBSSportsline.com or AOL keyword CBS Sportsline.
You could have a chaotic situation. 8.5 left in OT. Auburn up by 1. Here's Derek Bird. 2-point lead for the Tigers. Here we go. Nelson brings it across. 4 seconds left. Kick out West. Carroll doesn't have a point today. It'll stay that way. Out of bounds. It's over.
And that's how Auburn, the 10th seed in the East, outlasted St. Joe's in overtime, earning the Tigers a date with number 2 Wake Forest tomorrow. Welcome back, everyone, to the road to the Final Four on CBS. The Demon Deacons are led by high-scoring senior forward Josh Howard, for whom the road to New Orleans is but the latest off-ramp on a long personal odyssey.
Josh Howard.
I just never thought that many people knew who I was or would ever know who I was just by the things that happened to me growing up. I'm glad I stuck around for that moment.
The road to a successful life is paved with victories big and small. For Josh Howard, the first battle began before he was old enough to remember.
He was breached and his legs were very crooked, so they, waited for a while to see if they would straighten themselves out, and they didn't. So they had to break him and set him. He was 3 months old.
I mean, I seen pictures when I was younger, but I used to ask, what was this? I just thought I broke my leg or something, fell or something. But like, I think probably in high school is when I realized that I was really blessed.
Sometimes the road that teaches you the most about yourself doesn't take you far from home. Growing up in Winston-Salem, Howard never planned to attend Wake Forest, and after his first season, he almost didn't stay.
I asked Josh to come in my office, and I said, Josh, you need to make a decision whether or not you want to be here at Wake Forest or if you want to just play basketball.
I was still like the type of person where I stayed to myself. I always wanted to go back home on the other side of town. And she pretty much pushed the wrong button, and I got tired of it, and I was just ready. I was going to go home and call my mama, tell her I was coming home.
He knew that leaving was not an option. You know, you just have to tough it out. You know, everything is not going to go the way you want it to go. Everything is not going to be easy.
I think he must have given it a lot of thought because 3 days later, he comes back to study hall, book bag in hand.
The challenge had been issued, and he responded, not just on the court, but also in the classroom. The basketball player had become the student. But no one was prepared for the lessons of September 11th.
That event shook him deeply, and I think the visit to New York was particularly powerful and moving for him.
I've never seen so much like devastation publicly, and people like just people crying and even feeling the ground still shaking.
He'd known and does know that religion is a very powerful and pervasive force, but to see the evil side, the destructive side.
I always wonder why, and I felt like by me changing my major to religion, I could get like a better grasp on like why people do the things they do.
This journey, now nearly complete, has Howard looking forward to the next one, knowing he has profoundly influenced those who have been with him along the way.
I look up to him. He doesn't realize that he encourages his mom so many times, you know, and I'm just so thankful to say that he's my son.
I think everything that happened to me happened for a reason, and I dealt with it. I'm still dealing with some of the things that have happened, and I'm gonna make it.
You know, rarely does a basketball game's outcome hinge on just the play of one person, and this one probably doesn't either, but you insist that Josh Howard has to bring his best game.
I really think so against a team like Auburn because he is their go-to player, he's their leader, and the road that he's traveled has prepared him well for that role when combined with the talent that he has. And he played a subpar game due to foul trouble yesterday. They need him to be on the floor 30-plus minutes in the game against Auburn.
All right, CK, coming up, we will talk live with Rick Barnes, the head coach of the South's top seed Texas Longhorns, and the story of two brothers on two different tournament teams and their parents who never miss any of their games. That's next on the road to the Final Four.
Introducing the fast new C230 Sport Sedan with a supercharged compressor engine. To catch one, you gotta be in one.
So, you hanging up the whistle, eh, Coach?
Yeah, kind of hard to believe.
So can a girl buy you dinner?
Coach, sorry, could you help me with something?
Sure.
This goes up there.
At Applebee's, we do our best to be part of the neighborhood.
Fast-Act Foam. Its patented formula knocks out weeds in 24 hours. The leading imitator doesn't. Roundup Fast-Act Foam knocks out weeds in 24 hours.
Cars with worn shocks can take 10 feet farther to stop. Next time you're in for tires or brakes, have your shocks checked as part of a Monroe Safety Triangle inspection. Monroe. Ride safe.
Wednesday on a special night. A Survivor surprise that's going to blow the whole game.
Heidi, you want to do it?
Wide open.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
All new Survivor, special night, CBS Wednesday.
Yeah.
War headlines of the hour. Explosions have been heard around Baghdad within the last hour. Warplanes reported overhead. Thick columns of smoke are rising from burning oil trenches around Baghdad, an apparent Iraqi effort to impede air attacks. 4 U.S. soldiers are reported killed today in central Iraq. Britain's Sky News says the 4 reconnaissance scouts were ambushed in a rocket grenade attack. This is unconfirmed by the U.S. military. In the south, American forces have captured the city of Nasiriyah, a key point on the road to Baghdad. U.S. Marines have announced victory in what was called a major skirmish outside Basra, Iraq's second largest city and largest port. While in the far north, the U.S. attacked positions of the radical group Ansar al-Islam. That group being blamed for a car bomb attack that killed an unidentified Australian journalist this morning. 5 other journalists, including 2 Americans, are reported killed in southern Iraq. 2 British Sea King helicopters have collided, killing 6 British troops and 1 American. And the Pentagon says it has been forced to abandon plans to send heavy armored troops through Turkey into northern Iraq and will move those troops to Kuwait. Stay with CBS News for the latest on America at war. When news breaks out, we'll break in. I'm Dan Rather.
And we welcome you back to the road to the Final Four. For most fans, the road to the Final Four is straight and narrow. Have a look there at our upcoming game. But for one family, the Carrolls of Horsham, Pennsylvania, the road is relatively complicated. 2 sons made the tournament, but one, Matt, plays for Notre Dame, while his brother Pat plays for St. Joe's. Imagine having to be in 2 places at once. That's just what Maureen and John Carroll have done all season long and into the tournament to watch their sons play.
Our parents always came to our games, and it's just something that we grew up with ourselves, so it was important to be at your kids' games, and so I think we kind of learned it from our parents.
It takes a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, and a lot of luck.
I can't believe how they've been traveling this whole year, just because it's not like they have no lives. I mean, they have to work every day, and the fact that they get out to almost every one of our games, and we're traveling all around the country, it's unbelievable.
Just how they're scheduling and bouncing around. We played at Rutgers, they left and went out the back door and drove to Philadelphia to see Pat, and it's a whirlwind, but I know it's been exciting.
I have a lot of friends that think we are crazy, especially when you know, Pat is playing maybe 3 or 4 hours from home, or maybe Matt is out here on the East Coast and we drive to their games.
It's certainly well worth it. You know, anytime you can see your child perform, and particularly the way they performed this year, it's very rewarding.
Family comes first for the Carrolls. All of their traveling around the country has been undertaken to support their sons. And the effort isn't lost on Matt and Pat.
It means more than they know. Before the game starts, you know, I always take a look up in the stands, and one of them is always up there, and it kind of gives you an extra incentive to play a little harder and realize that, you know, they're sacrificing their lives to come out and see us when it's not convenient for them, and that just says a lot about our family, I think.
You know you have that family support, but when they're actually there in person, you can go out and, you know, just talk to them after the game, and that's the best part about it.
I never imagined that it could be this exciting, this much fun for all of us. They have really entertained us in a lot of ways and given us a lot of wonderful memories.
They're always there for us, but it's not just about the games that they come to. It's how well they treat us, and, you know, we try to treat them with the same respect. They're just great parents.
They really put us first. That's why they are my role models. You know, I wish someday, I hope I'm going to be a parent as good as they are, because they work hard in it. You know, it's not easy, and I really respect them for that.
They give us our thanks just by being the types of people they are.
In the first round, Maureen Carroll went to Indianapolis to see Matt and the Irish defeat Wisconsin-Milwaukee, while Dad John was in Tampa to watch Pat's St. Joe's Hawks fall to Auburn in overtime. They will be together to see Notre Dame play Illinois today, and as you saw earlier, Matt will start despite suffering from a sprained left ankle. And I know you think the world of Illinois' basketball team, which means you feel that the Irish can use all the help they can get.
They certainly need a healthy Matt Carroll. Obviously, he won't be 100%. It'll be interesting to see how effective he can be, but but I still think Illinois just has too much size, depth, and speed for Notre Dame to be able to beat them.
All right, Clark, a reminder for you. Tomorrow we will finish setting the Sweet 16 with another live tournament quadruple header. The action begins at noon Eastern time with Indiana and Pittsburgh. At about 2:15 Eastern time, Butler will face Louisville, while Oklahoma State will test Syracuse. 3 games will tip at roughly 4:30 Eastern, and among those taking to the court, Wake Forest, 2nd seed in the East, and Texas, the top seed in the South. Finally, at about 7 Eastern time, Michigan State takes on Florida, while Utah challenges the top seed in the Midwest. Well, the 9th seed Purdue Boilermakers will be the Texas Longhorns' second-round opponent tomorrow. Joining us now live from Birmingham to share his thoughts on that matchup and other March Madness matters, Texas head coach Rick Barnes. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be with you guys.
Thank you for joining us. As a head coach sitting there on the sidelines, what was your reaction to all of these crazy finishes last night?
Well, I think it's NCAA tournament time, and I think that we all know that with the parity in college basketball right now, with the way the game is, that really and truly you can throw seeds out, and it's going to get down to having great finishes like that.
You know, your conference was so highly respected for the quality of the teams that came out of it. Because you have this competition all season long, is it fair to say that the Big 12 is about as tournament ready and tournament tough as any conference in the country?
I think so, and as we get ready to prepare for Purdue here, I mean, I do know our league has played really extremely tough this year. You know, all of our conference games were highly contested, and you need that getting ready to play against a team like Purdue, because I don't know if you're going to play against anybody that's going to play any harder than what Purdue is going to come with, and so you hope that certainly what you've done through the regular season has you prepared for it.
Coach, I think it's fair to say that as a #1 seed, great things are expected of you, like a Final Four appearance. Do you look at it that way?
Well, you know, I really think that the expectations that we place on ourselves, and I think it's a compliment to our team that we were awarded with a #1 seed, and I think it goes to show you the type of year that we had. But that's something that we never talked about, and we won't finish the season being happy with that. You know, we've put some pretty high expectations on ourselves, but we know how hard it is to get there, and it's supposed to be hard. But we know how hard we've got to plan. We've always tried to look at just the next step in front of us, and we're going to stay with that.
Rick, let's turn our attention to the matchup coming up with Purdue. Talk about what your team feels like it needs to do to handle Purdue, and what I thought was the most surprising margin of victory yesterday, the way they handled LSU.
Well, when you think of Purdue, I think, one, you're looking at a team that is an identity of the guy that's been sitting on that bench for 23 years, Gene Cady, and they play extremely hard defensively, really do a great job of helping each other. They will really put the ball on top of you in transition. They push the ball at every opportunity they get, and so the biggest thing I know, and again, I think they pride themselves on playing harder than anybody they play, and that's going to be a huge challenge in itself that you've got to come out and certainly be able to match that type of intensity.
Coach, very quickly, looking at T.J. Ford and looking for a biased opinion here, is he the best ball player in the country?
Well, I think he is. I think in terms of what he's done for us and what he means to our team and the way that he plays, you know, he's not a one-dimensional player. He's the type of person that will do whatever it takes for his team to win, and the bottom line, he is simply about winning.
Coach, thank you for joining us. Good luck to you and the Longhorns. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
You bet, Coach Rick Barnes. We'll be back with more along the road to the Final Four right after this.
Come on, Jason. Come on in. Come on, it's like bathwater. Come on, it's not that bad. You don't want to come in with your dad? Come on in. You're not going to come in, huh? Come on. Just one foot on the edge. Now give me 2 feet. Give me 2. Come on. Come on. Roll around a little bit. Oh, Jakes, you had it. Oh. Tell you what, you jump in, and we all go to McDonald's. Huh?
Stay on the car! Let's go! Chop chop!
Bang & Olufsen relies on HP technology in the production of perfect sound.
Hey, Bob. You get a new haircut?
No.
Hey, Bob. Hey.
Did you lose weight?
Huh?
Nope. What's different? He finally asked his doctor about Viagra. Ready to ask your doctor about Viagra for the first time? Find out if a free sample is right for you. To learn more, visit Viagra.com.
Called the sitter, I walked the dog, and I saw the doctor.
Ask your doctor and see the difference.
There it is. Whoa. Change of plans. Turn right.
Introducing Cayenne, pure Porsche, in a most unexpected form.
Americans in uniform. As soldiers? No, as cops, ready to do battle with terrorists. 60 Minutes, right after basketball, Sunday.
CBS Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by the Cayenne, pure Porsche in a most unexpected form. HP Technology Services and People help make more things more possible. And by Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Here's a question for you. What would March Madness be without team mascots? A whole lot more civil, at least judging by what happened when Utah met Oregon last night. Puddles, the Oregon Duck, was wearing his usual grin. And Swoop, the mascot for Utah, had a bird's eye view. They're supposed to fire up the fans, but at halftime they fired insults and a couple of jabs at each other. With his reach advantage, Swoops went headhunting. So Puddles went for the takedown. No one was injured in the ensuing melee, and later Bonnie Bernstein negotiated a truce.
Did anybody put you up to apologizing? Are you really ready to kiss and make up? I think our work here is done.
The only thing that I can think of that's dumber than mascots getting thrown out of a basketball game is a radio announcer getting thrown out of a basketball game.
Hey, be careful now. That's my former assistant
Well,
coach.
what is he doing?
I don't know what happened.
College
I'll have to give him a call
basketball be about anything less?
Right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You've got to control yourself. The players are asked to control themselves all the time. So coaches, everybody else around in the arena has to control themselves
Who are these
as well.
double-digit seeds that you're
Well,
touting?
we've only got 3 today. Arizona State, Central Michigan, and Tulsa. I think the strongest chance for potential upsets there is with Tulsa because of their outstanding outside shooting and quickness on the perimeter, and Central Michigan against Duke because they have a big guy who's going to be a real problem for Duke and Chris Kaman.
You know, we'll hold you to it, don't you?
I know you will.
All right, we'll be back with more on the road to the Final Four after this message and a word from your local station.
The Masters is on CBS.
Don't miss Celine Dion in a spectacular live event. Celine in Las Vegas, CBS Tuesday.
Introducing the Nokia 3650 camera phone. The new Get Well card. We make multimedia messaging as easy as see, snap, and send. Nokia, connecting people.
From Wish TV, your 24-hour news station, here's the latest from News 8.
Good afternoon, I'm Andrea Cook. The FBI has arrested a northern Indiana man on charges of illegally funneling $7 million to Iraq over the past 2.5 years. The court papers don't say what purpose the money went for and don't point to terrorism. The 30-year-old man from Elkhart is a U.S. citizen born in Iraq, and he is charged with operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. This is your 24-hour news station.
From tip-off to the Final Four, it's March Madness, only on Wish TV. Coming up, 9 hours of nonstop tournament action, beginning with Notre Dame and Illinois in the West. And then at about 3:20 p.m. Eastern Time, UConn meets Stanford in the South. Missouri takes on Marquette in the Midwest bracket. Among the schools in action in our third set of games, Oklahoma, #1 in the East, Arizona, the top seed in the West. And the quadruple header games will tip about 8 Eastern Time with Arizona State against Kansas and Central Michigan against Duke. And Clark, in the second round, you end up inevitably with some teams that didn't expect to be there. The question is, do they continue to ride that high, or does reality set in?
Well, I think the teams probably expected to be there, but lesser expectations from the masses gives this team a chance to move forward with greater freedom, and because of that, I think they're more dangerous the longer they hang around.
And of course, some of the problems is that some of those higher seeds, those power teams, are just finding their rhythm and groove and getting used to the tournament.
And their matchups are always interesting when you move through the tournament, because comfortable matchups make it easier for some of the lower seeded teams to move on and surprise folks.
All right, Clark, Notre Dame against Illinois is next from Indianapolis. Gus Johnson and Len Olmore will have the call courtside. We'll join them after this message from your local station. Enjoy the madness, everyone, here on CBS.
For the latest on Iraq,
discover the difference next week on The Early Show.
Let the madness begin. All the dunks, all the fanatics, all the drama can only be seen on one station, Wish TV. See all the tournament games with Wish DT multicasting. Just pick the game you want to watch. And for the best local coverage after the game, the Sports 8 team is #1. March Madness, only on Wish TV.